So this is Andy Wood's 2020?
Yeah, 2020 GT500.
Rear fab just put some Dodson clutches in here. We're gonna take it out for a little test drive real quick.
Yep. Gotta make sure it's getting in every gear correctly, make sure it's engaging and disengaging and downshifting correctly, and you know, make sure it's all good before we put some power through it. Second a little bit clunky, but it'll work its way out.
Uh-oh. Is that the blower?
Hey, what's up? Ken from Palm Beach Dyno here. As you saw from the opening, we have a lot of stuff going on around here at the shop. That's Andy Wood's 2020 GT500 CX1100R. Has the first Dodson clutch installed. Looks like it's driving pretty good. We've got a lot more coming on that one. That car is going to MITM as well as my car and the car behind me. This is Sean Bax's twin turbo 2020 GT500. I'm sure you guys have already seen that video. We've got tons of views on it. If not, go ahead and check it out here. Please subscribe to the channel. We really love bringing you guys content. We're working on the Godzilla truck right here. Nitrous Express setup, probably 100 shot to start. We've got the stock wheels on it. We're gonna take that back to the track here real soon and try and get a new best, get it in the 13s NA and maybe the 12s with the nitrous. But this video is about what we're doing to this, our 2020 GT500, which is the new 3.8 Whipple has arrived. So go ahead and check it out. We're gonna get started on the install right now, but I figured you guys might wanna see the blower, see you know, some internals of it, and I talk a little bit about what makes the Whipple blower special. So hope you enjoy it. The unicorn everyone has been waiting for. As far as I know, guys, this is pretty much a production kit, except wow, that's nice. This is 3D printed just to get it out to us, but I assume this will be a normal production piece when you guys get it. We're getting this kit early for testing reasons, but it shouldn't be too long before we can send you guys one. Woo, baby, that looks like a billet lid to me. What do you think? I do not think that's a cast lid. Ugh. Oh, fuck, Jesus, I need 500 more horsepower to carry this. All right, guys. See what else is in here real quick before I look at the blower. Oh, yeah. We got the throttle body. This unit's going to be available probably with two different ones. This looks like a 132 to me. But it'll also take the 150. Now keep in mind, guys, you know, there's gonna be two basic guys that use this kit. Guys that put it on a stock motor, which at that point, you're gonna have a lot of room to grow, which we're doing that with this. We're putting this on my stock car to make sure the tune's good for you guys that have a mostly stock vehicle. We've already tuned the first one of these at Whipple. Now I'm gonna do it on my own car and take this blower through the same path that we've taken the stock blower to make sure everything runs really good. 3.5, 3.75. All right. Yep. Hey, look at this. These are so hot out of the press that I didn't even get the Whipple marking on it because he wanted to get it here so fast. But these are pretty sweet looking units. Now, I'm gonna show you this, although maybe I shouldn't have. This is already a super special blower. If you look down inside here, you'll see that this blower is already ported. With this setup, porting is probably gonna pull a little bit of torque out of it, which some people may not like, but on a car like this, this is exactly what we want. We have a 3.8 liter blower that will make crazy boost down low, which sounds like a great idea until you turn it up, and now all of a sudden you're making way too much torque for your DCT clutches, or if you have clutches, and then you're gonna hurt your transmission, all those sorts of things. Torque kills things, especially on stock pieces. So I went ahead and decided to get this ported. That's gonna do two things for me. That's gonna pull some torque out of it down low, and when the built motor goes in, it's gonna make ton more horsepower up top. We may not take advantage of the porting on the stock motor, but we surely are when we put the built motor on. All right, let's go ahead and open it up. And does this have to come? Yeah, it has to come on. Open this up for, see what the inside looks like. All right.
Here, hold it down.
All right, there's the badass inside of it. Again, the inlet's ported, but nothing else is done to this blower. Who knows what kind of gains we can get out of, you know, porting the outlet of the blower, basically the outlet here and the runners. I'm sure there'll be people like Jason at 1320, Brett and Jeff that do the Joker's blowers, Kong, all those guys. I'm guessing will at least try to make some more power with these. It's certainly possible, I would guess, but it's set up really to rock from the factory with being so big. Now, one thing I wanted to mention with you guys, we get a lot of questions about the rotors on the Whipples. They are coated, but it's the type of coating. Now, of course, there are times when we do have problems with them, but a lot of times after you run this a little bit, you'll see some lines in here. It's pretty much a self-clearancing coating. And the reason that you have the coating is the closer you have the tolerances on something like this, the more power you're gonna make. It makes it more efficient. So this coating is meant to take a little bit of wear and will really basically clearance itself. If you see excessive wear that you're still not sure about, obviously send some pictures to us, but we get a lot of questions about that, so I wanted to mention it. All right, well, let's look at this lid real quick. So here's the intercooler. Now, if we were to compare this, and actually we will, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and pull this out of the Whipple lid, and then we're gonna put it next to the factory intercooler brick and measure the volume, I guess is what you would do, and add these two together. And we're gonna tell you, you know, there's other advantages to different cores and core design and all that stuff, but we're gonna go basically with surface area. In this case, surface area is through the roof, the way this works, because basically the blower is blowing through this up into the lid, and then it's coming back out down through the runners. So you're passing through each core twice with a lot more surface area, and you just have more volume. Like, we'll measure the volume of this combined brick with the stock brick. So let's go over there and we'll start taking it apart. All right, getting a closer look at how all this goes together. So the way this works is you have 2 feeds and 2 returns on the Whipple setup. So obviously massive amounts of water flow as compared to most other blower setups. We're gonna go ahead and dig a little deeper and take the cores all the way out of the lid so we can take some measurements and compare them to the stock one. All right, let's pull it out of the lid here. This thing is all one piece. I know it looks like 2. All right, there you go. Let me get that. Oh, it is 2 pieces. It's just gotta probably be careful with it. Yeah, just sealed together there. So we'll be really careful with this. I don't really recommend taking any of this apart for you guys. I'm just doing this to show you the internals of it and the differences between the GT500 stock parts. And what we'll do is we'll show you the GT500 stock parts, the Whipple upgraded unit, and then this unit all side by side. Let's clean up a little bit and we'll set it up. All right, here are all three intercoolers all side by side. We have the factory unit, we have the Whipple upgraded unit for the factory blower, and then we have the Whipple intercooler out of their new 3.8 liter blower for the GT500. Now, as you can see, obviously, right off the get-go, this is gonna flow better water. You have 2 ins, 2 outs. It's pretty much 2 intercoolers. And there's a little bit of different ways this works. We're gonna ignore that for a minute, and we're just gonna compare the total size of the intercooler in surface area and volume. So let's look here and measure the stock one. We'll go ahead and go right off the plate. We'll call that 3 inches by 6. And again, this isn't scientific. I'm using a tape measure, but it's close enough. And the core size, we don't need the end tanks, 14. Now the Whipple intercooler is gonna instantly give you a little better cooling just based on the fact that it uses 1-inch lines if you go ahead and combine that with the Whipple manifold with 1-inch lines and upgrade your stock lines, ice tank, things like that. This is a great intercooler for the stock blower, for the guy that really wants to push the limits. So we'll do them in the same order. So from the base plate, we're at 3 inches still. Of course, that is limited by the Supercharger lid. Now we have a billet Supercharger lid. We have considered making a larger intercooler to replace it on a stock blower with our lid, but that still may happen. We're unsure. I'm not sure that's a great option. Go with the width next. 6 inches, 7/16, almost 6.5. And then the length is probably the same, 14 inches. So really what you get here is you get larger, better water flow, and it's wider. Now, of course, in those cases, you're limited by the blower. Now, Whipple obviously designs their own blower and everything. And this is the pinnacle of cooling. The Whipple stuff is just unmatched in my opinion. Now, let's go ahead and do the measurements, and then we'll talk more about why this works a little differently. So this one is, what is that? I can't read it. 2.5, we'll call it. 2.5. The total width of these two together is 13 1/8. And the length is 14 3/4. Okay? So just by looking at this thing, if this functioned the same way that these did, you have way more surface area, which we'll have up on the screen, you have more volume, and you have better water flow. Now, here's the other part that you have to consider. The way the stock Supercharger works is the air blows up through the intercooler, out this, and then into the runner. The second pass of the air through the system is not cooled. It's just cooled on the outlet of the blower, into the lid, into the runner. With this setup, what happens is the factory, or the Whipple blower blows through, this is upside down actually. So now you've got the Whipple blower here. It blows up through the intercooler core in a similar way that this does, but then when it wraps around, it comes back through the intercooler for the second pass. So now you have the runner is right here. So the air's passing through this huge intercooler twice. That is a huge, huge advantage beyond the fact that it's bigger, it has better water flow, and we're not even talking about the blower yet. So as you can see, Whipple's put a lot of time and effort into this design, and it shows. I mean, this is similar to other blowers that they've put out recently, and it's really unbelievable how cool these things stay. So we're gonna go ahead and put this all back together. We'll talk a little bit more about the blower and go over what the plan is with the car. All right, so I want to go over a couple more things about this blower and Whipples in general, and the things, you know, we look at and why we run Whipple Superchargers on our vehicles here, and why this is going on my own personal car. Whipple in general, you know, well, one big thing is something as simple as the bypass valve. Let's start there. This is the outlet of the bypass valve. The valve itself is here in the blower. So on a lot of vehicles, this bypass valve is not intercooled, meaning the air that's getting bypassed is hot right out of the blower. Like, so it would come from here right back into the inlet. And the problem with that is during cruise, you build up a lot of heat, and a lot of blowers out there are like that. Due to Whipple's intercooler design, which is patented, now the air is going through the first stage of the intercooler, then out the bypass valve and recirculated. So that way the bypassed air is much cooler. So you're gonna get much better recovery times in addition to all the cooling you're already getting from that massive intercooler. So that's huge. Talking about huge, the inlet. One of the biggest, most difficult things to overcome on the stock blower is the size of the inlet. That's really holding us back, and you know, we've considered cutting it off and making a bigger one, but at some point, you know, you're spending a little too much on the stock blower. So I think the stock blower is really happy at that 1,000 to 1,100 horsepower, and then this would be happy there too, or more than that. So like I said, this blower itself is ported, as you can see in there, but all the blowers have that exposed shaft design. And what that does is it improves airflow to that rotor over there. Sometimes on blowers and the stock blower itself, this is all solid aluminum covering the shaft right here. So it really blocks that side of the blower. Whipple changed to this design, and that is another real big advantage to Whipple. Let's talk about the cold air inlet. Now this is of course 3D printed, but this is gonna be what it's like. And then you have the air filter on here. Well, one thing that's coming with the Whipple kit that is difficult to do and not everybody offers is not only is every one of these 3.8 kits going to be CARB EO approved, but they're doing it with an open filter, which usually is very difficult. That's why you've seen closed air boxes in the past, but Whipple went the extra lengths to give everybody that open air filter that, you know, everybody wants. So, you know, that's just a couple things about the Whipple and why we do it. I like it that it's, you know, the guy whose name is on the blower is still running the company. You know, Dustin took over Whipple from his dad mostly, I think, probably 10 or 15 years ago, and he's been kicking ass with it ever since. And they spend a lot of money on R&D, machinery. They're doing a lot of this stuff in-house. You know, there's other blower companies out there that really all they're doing is, you know, doing an Eaton setup, TVS Eaton setup, and you know, they're designing the case, but somebody is doing a lot of the engineering work, the manufacturing, and that doesn't make it less of a product, but I think that makes this, you know, that much better, that it's something that's, you know, they're a real supercharger company, built from the ground up. They make their rotors in-house, a lot of stuff's made in-house, a lot of the R&D is done in-house, so you know, and they're really a hungry company. Whipple pretty much already owns the supercharger market, and you know, they still keep pushing. Every time I talk to Dustin, he has a new idea, a new change he's doing. You know, he's more concerned with the performance than the bottom line, and that's really rare in this industry. So I know a lot of you guys have been waiting a long time for these, and you know, the Mustang GT Whipples, but we hope that we're turning the corner on that, and these are starting to hit the ground for the test cars. This kit's going to be CARB EO approved. It's not yet. The retail pricing is not set on this, so if you're curious about that, we don't have that yet, or else I'd give it to you. But we're making progress. After this test session with us and a few other cars out there that are getting these blowers, they'll go into full production, have the CARB EO tune, and you guys will be set to go. All right, well anyway, we're gonna wrap this video up. If you guys love Whipple or Fords in general, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of new updates coming on this blower and a lot of other things coming with the GT500, Mustang GT, Explorer ST. Please share the channel with your friends. We're really trying to grow it, bring you guys new content every Friday at 9 o'clock, and then we're gonna be starting to do a lot more other things during the week. Live feeds are coming back, so make sure you stick around, and we'll see you on the next one.